Yeah, and utter confusion and anger inside the Commons tonight. We were told, weren't we, earlier on today by the chief whips that essentially this would be a vote of confidence in the government. Well, looking at the size of the Conservative rebellion within the last hour or so, they seem, unbelievably, to have done another U-turn, because the essentially government minister in charge has said that this motion is now not a vote of confidence in the government, but asked whether, if Conservative MPs abstain or indeed vote against the government, whether they could lose the whip or not. Well, that's not entirely clear. We believe that there is chaos and confusion in the lobbies, because the vote is literally underway as we speak, about what Conservative MPs are meant or trying to do. Quite extraordinary. I know we use this word a lot, Nigel, but the idea that the government somehow have control of the Conservative Party, which is normally what governing parties do, Prime Ministers normally have control of the parties, is in no doubt completely in tatters this evening. I mean, a real sense of just the lack of authority and legitimacy that Liz Truss and indeed government ministers now have among the Tory backbenchers, that this has been allowed to continue. We're going to see the size of that rebellion in the next couple of minutes, but be in no doubt, I mean, the damage by the way this has been handled has already been done.
Well, I guess ultimately it will depend on whether Jeremy Hunt wants to frack or not, and I would think as part of the global community, he probably would rather we go on importing energy than producing our own. Darren, I tell you what is a mystery to me. As the One Nation, Remainer wing tighten their grip on the party, what has happened to the hardline Eurosceptics? What has happened to those who believe in controlling our borders? They appear to be completely and utterly silent. Do they look and feel beaten?
Yeah, really interesting, isn't it? We heard from David Jones today, former Brexit minister, one of the most senior members of the ERG, trying to push Liz Truss on this idea about the Northern Ireland Protocol and the role the ECJ may well play in it. Warm words from the Prime Minister, but frankly no commitment. Steve Baker, someone who is, again, a big Brexiteer, but now a government minister, a Northern Ireland minister, must be said, tonight on the television insisting that Liz Truss was the only Prime Minister that they could essentially bank on. I mean, it is fascinating. I think to many degrees the ERG is slightly split, those Brexiteers, on who precisely they want in Downing Street, because there is concern among them, if they get rid of Liz Truss, that Rishi Sunak could move into Downing Street, who certainly I don't think is viewed as an ERGer, if you like. But you look at where Liz Truss is tonight, Nigel, it's unbelievable in many ways. She's appointed Grant Shapps, the man she sacked only 6 weeks ago as Transport Secretary, as a Home Secretary. This is a man who spent the party conference season undermining the Prime Minister, who called on her to scrap that top rate of tax, who essentially said she had 10 days to sort it out or she'd be kicked out, who on Monday said that her chances of remaining Prime Minister were akin to threading the eye of a needle with the lights off. And now he's one of the most senior government ministers. It is a sign of desperation, I think, from Liz Truss. It is a sign, you're right, of the influence that Jeremy Hunt now has on this government. Yeah. And there are big questions for Conservative MPs. What is this government here to do with Liz Truss's policy agenda completely junked and with Jeremy Hunt effectively in charge? Is this what they want going forwards?